Hey everybody, Mike Schiller here, PDGA number 131327 and a member of Team Basket Bashers in 2021. So here in Michigan, we are getting dropping temps, and with dropping temps comes some problems. Principle of which, for me lately, is getting a good grip on the disc. In the cold weather, skin dries out. I'll admit I am a person who breathes on or spits on my fingers to get some extra grip, but sometimes it just isn't cutting it. We had a tournament a few weeks ago where fingers were so dried out. I was having early release issues all the time. So I wanted to try a couple things out. And my first course of action was to watch the Paul Macbeth video that he did where he tried out a bunch of different items. And I wasn't looking for the amount of grip you would get from Spider Tack or something like, the Tiger Stick or something like that. I didn't want something that aggressively grippy. But I did like the idea of the surf wax that he had popped open at first. So I immediately ordered a few bars of that. Surf wax was very cheap. I got 3 bars of it for, I can't even remember, $10 to $15 probably, which was super affordable. I can give 2 bars away and still have this for the longest time. And the other one that I wanted to check out after being tagged in a Facebook post was this. This is Disc Golf MaxWax, fairly, I think, a new company. But I ordered a puck of this. It was a similar price to what I paid with the Surf Wax, and I wanted to give them both a shot and see which one was going to be the most useful. So, first impression, I got the Surf Wax first, and I cracked open an end of it, and I started working my fingers into it. It is kind of, it does have that grip feel to it, or that grippy feel to it, where, you can tell that it's going to be adding some sort of tackiness to your fingers. And not wanting a ton of tackiness, just enough to get my fingers to stick. This was kind of ideal. My first impression was this could get the job done. Now, my main concern with this is the fact that, this is cold temperature wax. It's supposed to be rubbed onto, a board. Putting it onto my fingers when it is cold out, when this bar stiffens up, I don't really know that it's necessarily going to be super, readily adding tackiness to my fingers as opposed to just me rubbing my hand against some frozen wax, because here in Michigan, we play in some pretty cold temps. So rubbing it along here in a room temperature area, I am getting some stickiness on my fingers. It does provide a lot of, more grippiness than, let's say I would have if I was normally, just kind of gripping a disc without anything on my fingers. Like I said, I do normally, breathe on my fingers to get some condensation there to build up some tackiness. And this is helping. Like I can feel this really kind of sticking my fingers to the disc. So yes, it does indeed add some grip to it. Now, on the other side of the coin, we have the MaxWax. I wouldn't really even say other side of the coin. These are, very similar products. This one, I could feel right off the bat that the tackiness that it was adding was a little bit extra compared to the Surf Wax. This was a little bit more grippy, and it rubbed off a little bit easier onto my fingers. I didn't have to really work it over like I did with the Surf Wax. I would have less trepidation about this being harder to apply to my fingers when it is much colder out, because this seems more like beeswaxy, and my body temperature will heat this up a little bit faster. So rubbing this on, I definitely have some serious grip to it. It is not like overly grippy, but it definitely is tacky, and it will absolutely keep the disc stuck in my hand. One thing I did notice about the MaxWax when I first tried it out was that you could hear your fingers adhering to the disc. Let me see hopefully this will pick it up, but just kind of pressing it on there like I normally would grip a disc. You can hear your fingers coming off of this thing. One of the other worries that I had in using this kind of stuff is what kind of residue is it going to put on the discs? And I can, with my hand that doesn't have anything on it, as I rotate the disc around, I can feel the areas where it was, but with a little bit of pressure, a little bit of rubbing, it does come off. you'll get some grippiness on the other hand, but it's not going to stay there forever. And quite honestly, a little bit of hot water and a rag, it's going to all come right off anyways. So if you're cleaning your discs, this really won't be a huge issue. But indoor impressions, not throwing anything, just the basic grip between the two, I would have to give an edge to the MaxWax for sure. It is a little tackier. It melts into your hand a little bit faster, and I don't have nearly the worries that I would about taking them outside in the cold, where I feel like the surf wax is going to be a much more solid kind of wax, and it's going to have a little bit it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get onto my fingers. So I want to take these out and go throw a few in the field, go to a park and throw a couple of discs and see how the releases go. Am I releasing on time? Is it actually causing slippage, or am I going to grip lock something? We're going to take a shot at that. So let's head out to the field and see what we see. All right. So I'm down here at Showboat Park, hole 18, sitting right behind me here. And I'm going to start off with the surf wax. So I try to get it ground into my fingers enough to get a little bit of grip. And I'm going to throw a few drives, and we'll see how it works. Again, like I said, this stuff is a little bit tougher to get worked into your fingers. It's a little gooier, a little bit more firm as well. So you really got to kind of warm it up a little before it really gets into your fingers. So I have what I think is a pretty good amount on there. Let's take a rip. All right, not too bad. Throwing insanity here. All right, not bad. Felt good coming out of the hand. Wasn't too grippy. May have been a little bit of early release there. Let's try another one and see what we get. Oh, let's try a Tesla. I'm gonna reapply just a little bit. Pretty much parked. That one felt good. It came out of the hand all right. Did not feel slippery at all. Right on point, and actually had a little bit more snap than I usually have, so that's pretty good. The surf wax seems to be working pretty well. Let's try it once on a forehand though. All right, got a fireball. Let's see what we can do. Well, that was never going to make it all the way there anyways, being a fireball, but felt pretty good. And honestly, I mean, it had a little bit of slippage there in that shot. Otherwise, not too bad. Surf wax does a pretty decent job. All right, so let's try this again. Wind kind of picked up a little bit, but got the MaxWax now, the DG MaxWax. I'm gonna try to rub this into my fingers a little bit. As I figured, it is a little cooler out here, and this is all a little bit harder to work into your fingers. The surf wax was a little difficult. The MaxWax, not really quite so difficult. It's a little more tackiness to this immediately. So let's give it a try here. I'm gonna throw another insanity, see what we get. Pretty much parked. Felt good. Out the hand, it did stick to the disc. like I needed it to. Kept that grippiness, kept that tackiness, so I like that. Let's try another one. Let's give a Tesla another rip. Actually, let me reapply just a little bit. Oh yeah, good grip on this stuff. Great grip on this stuff. Well, that was a poor shot, but it was my own fault. Didn't line up quite right. So the MaxWax felt pretty good there. Let's try this with something a little longer though. This is a Photon, a Fission Photon. Oh yeah, after like doing that 3 times, this is very grippy. Well, there's quite a wind going on here, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll stable up a little bit. There we go. Another Photon, but a little more stable. Yeah, a little more torque, and it still held up. That was great. Let's try one more forehand. Let's see what we get. We'll go with another Photon. Let's kind of reapply to the forehand fingers. Let's see what happens. Not bad, but the grip was fine. That was the important thing here. The grip actually felt super duper good. So I gotta say, both of these products, they'll do the job, but if you want a little more tackiness right now from what I'm feeling after a couple of applications, couple of throws, the MaxWax is sticking with me. And I like that. I don't want to have to reapply after every single hole. So the MaxWax is doing the job. So I'm gonna get some final thoughts in here in just a second, but great. Okay, so test has been done. First impressions, the throws, everything was pretty good. Between Surfwax and MaxWax, there is some similarities. There's lots of similarities, honestly. I mean, you get that tackiness, you get that grippiness. It does not wear off terribly fast. You do get some residual from the Surfwax as well as the MaxWax. As far as price goes, like I said, the Surfwax was really cheap. I got 3 bars for $10 to $15, and I got 1 puck of MaxWax for on the lower end of that spectrum. So again, in the 10 to 15 range. Now, which one would I recommend? Which one am I going to be carrying? I have to give the edge to the MaxWax for sure. It was easier to get onto my hands. It stuck around a little bit longer. I had a little more tackiness, a little more of that grippiness that I really, really need this time of year. So in that, I will definitely give it to the MaxWax. As far as Surfwax is concerned, I would not badmouth it in any way. I would definitely recommend you use one of these products for sure when you are looking to get a little bit of extra grip, regardless of the season. Here in Michigan right now, as I'm filming this, it's about 45 degrees out. Max, it's probably on the lower, a little bit lower than that. But yeah, if I'm going to make a choice here between these two, I'm going to go with the MaxWax. It performed just a little bit better. It felt a little bit better. Tackiness, the way it got onto my fingers, the way it stayed on my fingers. Give the edge here. This is good stuff. I would definitely recommend it, regardless of the season. So if you are looking to pick either of these up, you can find them online. This is not a sponsored video in any way from either of these companies, either of these brands. Just my own personal point of view, my own personal opinion on these things. So check it out online. Peace out.